Hello learners and viewers, welcome to this session. Today's topic is Concepts and Theories of Gender and Development Studies. This topic is useful for the learners enrolled in Master's Program in Gender and Development Studies in various sessions. Before I explain the concepts, various concepts related to gender and development as well as theories, how the gender and development as a theory emerged and how it is very useful to analyze the public policies. Before we get into that discussion, I would like to explain the program objectives of the Master's Program in Gender and Development Studies. You all must be wondering, why do I need to explain the program objectives? When I explain about the gender and development theory as well as the various concepts related to gender and development, these objectives you can relate those discussions with these objectives and you could able to understand in a better manner. So this program, the Masters in Gender and Development Studies, seek to enable learners to analyze the extent of gender sensitivity of development interventions. That is the first objective. This objective clearly talk about that there are various development initiatives implemented at the various levels. How far these initiatives have had an impact on various genders, whether it's a male, female or other genders. Second significant objective is to conduct the gender analysis. Specifically for these objectives, we have a separate course in the first year itself that you all must be knowing, that MGS 003 gender analysis. In that course, we not only explained about the gender analysis, we have given the various frameworks of gender analysis. Using that frameworks, one could able to collect the data systematically from the field, and using this analysis, gender analysis as a tools and techniques, we could able to identify the existing gender differences in a society or in a given field. Based on the existing gender differences, one could able to realize whether if there is any policy intervention is required or just gender sensitivity would also bring the changes in the society. Third objective is to critically analyze gender differentials in selected development sector. If you look at this program, we have dealt with various sectors including health, education and natural resource management, forest, as well as agriculture. Like that, various sectors we have thoroughly analyzed and how these sectors have had a differential impact on male, female and other genders. What are the programs implemented by the government in these sectors, whether these programs have conceived and implemented with a gender perspective or not, have been thoroughly analyzed in the entire program. Next objective is to identify the appropriate research designs and methodologies for a range of research problems. You all must be knowing that we have a separate course in our master's program, that is MGS 005, Research Methodologies in Gender and Development Studies. There we have not only introduced the theoretical understanding about the research methodologies, that is, we started with the positivism. After that, we had a debate with science versus social sciences. Then we have introduced the various research methods. Afterwards, we have explained how to collect the data, collection, sampling, everything we have covered in that course. The next objective is to suggest the positive affirmative action when we do gender analysis and when we systematically collect the various data from the field, and once we could able to analyze these data, how far there is an gender differences existing in the society. Certainly we need to suggest some affirmative actions in development planning and practice to promote gender equity and equality. That is also we have discussed in the entire program. You all must be you have already enrolled in the program. We regularly get the queries about the program, and after completing the program or when what is the outcome of the program? The outcome of the program is to understand the significance of gender perspective in approaching and analyzing the issue of development in various sectors of economy and society. That is the first outcome. Once you complete this program, certainly one could able to analyze and approach the issues of development in various sectors of economy and society. It will certainly equip the learner to identify research designs and methodologies for researching the subject proficiently. It will also sensitize the enrolled learners to suggest affirmative action to promote gender equity and equality. This program also sensitizes learners to seek social justice and gender equality. When you come to know that the existing gender differences, certainly the learners, they will seek the social justice and to bring equity and equality in the society. Learners will be gender sensitized after completing the program. Learners will be able to achieve gender equality at the policy level. If some of the learners, if they join in a national, international organization, or if some of them, if they be part of the government sector, certainly they could able to intervene in the existing policies, as well as if the government conceive the new policies, they could able to intervene at the policy level to bring gender sensitive policies at the various levels. What are the second significant questions we receive from the learners is that after completing this master's program, what are the career opportunities available in the society? First one is that once you complete this program, certainly there are various opportunities available with the government sectors, whether it's the central government or state level government or local governments or district administrations. There are various opportunities available with the government. Certainly learners can be part of the existing government system for implementing the programs, various programs and policies of the government. If some of them would like to aspire for higher studies after completing the master's program, we have thoroughly, you will be thoroughly trained in the research, because we have two specific courses related to research. One is the MGS 003 Gender Analysis and MGS 005 Research Methodologies in Gender and Development Studies. So if some of you would like to pursue higher studies after completing this master's program, there are plenty of opportunities available with the higher educational institutions, and you can join in the PhD program any one of the higher educational institutions. Even of course IGNOU, in the School of Gender and Development Studies, we are offering two PhD programs, that is the PhD in Women's Studies and PhD in Gender and Development Studies. You can very well take up the entrance, and if you get through the entrance and necessary like personal interview, you can very well join in the IGNOU itself, or you can join in some other higher educational institutions. And there is a possibility of work with non-profit organizations. Lots of non-governmental organizations, non-profit organizations or not-for-profit organizations, both national and international level, they work on gender issues and they work at the higher policy level. Certainly they need students who have trained in gender studies as well as who have trained in public policies. So this program certainly will train you both in gender studies as well as public policies. So very well, if there are lots and lots of opportunities. Already many of our learners, they have joined in the non-governmental organization at the national and international level. There is a career in teaching and research, as well as you can pursue career in specialized areas like corporate sector, corporate social responsibility, and one could able to join as a gender trainer with Government of India or local body institutions at national and state level bureaucracy, police, administration service, human rights commissions and other institutions working for human rights. Lastly, at least, you can also join in any like mass media, to write a special column, and you can join as an editor to edit the news related to gender as well as public policies. These are the various opportunities available after completing our master's program. Now let us discuss about the theoretical understanding about gender and development. If you look at the gender and development as a framework or theory, it has emerged over a period of time. You all know that after the Second World War, there are many countries, they have taken various development initiatives, both developed and developing nations, they have took various development initiatives. During that period, they have realized that compared to male members, the female, they are lagging behind in various indicators, whether it's literacy or access to health services or access to like various resources and access to institutions like government institutions, other banking and other financial institutions. They were, compared to male members, the female, they were lagging behind many of the factors. Initially, most of the countries, they implemented various public policies through welfare approach. In that welfare approach, the women are considered as a merely they are considered as a recipient of various welfare programs. The government could able to formulate various welfare policies like widow pension, old age pension, various welfare measures, and they could able to implement, and most of the women, they receive the various welfare benefits. After implementing welfare policies, after 10 to 15 years, the government realized that even though many of the governments at the national and international level, they have implemented various welfare programs, still the women, they were lagging behind, and they realized that women should be part of the existing development process. During that period only, through the intervention of various feminists and other development practitioners, they could able to, with the intervention of United Nations, they could able to formulate the WID approach, that is women in development approach. In that WID approach, the women, they were considering women as part of the existing development process. So they have formulated certain policies, and in that policy, they made women to be part of those policies. For example, many of the like the women, they got various trainings for the economic activities. Like as in India, as far as in India is concerned, like small the economic activities the women could able to take up. Through that economic activities, they could able to generate certain resources for their own livelihood. After implementing WID programs from 1970 to 80-85, they realized that already the women were part of the existing development process. This realization came through the Esther Boschrup work on African agricultural pattern. In that Esther Boschrup study clearly pointed out that the women already contributing for the like various, especially they are contributing for the agricultural activities. They are the main food producer, but still whatever the women's contribution, it was not considered and it was not recognized. That is the main issues. So based on this Esther Boschrup study, they have implemented the Women in Development, that is WID program. Based on the WID program, many of the national governments, they have formulated various policies and implemented it. After implementing WID program, after a decade or more than that, still the women were lagging behind in various development parameters. So during that period, as you know, that United Nations has organized 4 international conferences. That the WID approach, the failure of the WID approach was extensively discussed in Nairobi conference. Based on the Nairobi discussions, in the Beijing conference, they have proposed the new approach called the gender and development approach. Basically, they have realized that the failure of the WIT approach is that they have not considered the existing gender relations in the society. They took merely women as a single unit and they formulated various policies and implemented it. That is the main reason that the women, they could not develop on par with male members in the society. When there was an extensive discussion about the gender and development approach. Basically, gender and development approach is that there is an existing gender relations in the society. That existing gender relations, what type of gender relation? It is the power relations. So unless and until we address the existing power relation, it is difficult to bring changes in the life of the women. That by realizing the existing power relations, they have developed the gender and development approach. Based on the to understand more about the gender and development approach, it is important to know the various concepts related to gender and development approach. First is that I would like to explain the culture. What is culture? Culture is the distinctive pattern of ideas, beliefs, norms which characterize the way of life and relations of the society or group within a society. So based on the certain ideas, pattern of ideas, beliefs that they exist in the society, based on those beliefs, the relationships will be built. But how this relationship, always this relationship exists it's not that those relationship, it doesn't exist in an equal manner. There is a power relations exist in the society. This power relation is based on the certain beliefs, ideas. Second one is that gender analysis. I have explained little bit about this gender analysis. Gender analysis is the distinctive, we have to gather informations in a very systematic manner. What is research? Research is the doing certain things in a systematic manner. Like that, we need to gather informations from the field in a systematic manner. The gender analysis will train us to collect the information in a systematic manner from the field, and those data we could able to examine, and one could able to understand the existing social relations in order to identify, understand. Once we understand and identify, certainly we need to take certain measures to redress those inequities based on gender. That then, what is gender discrimination? That is the systematic unfavorable treatment of individuals on the basis of their gender. Just because certain individual belongs to certain gender, those individuals, they may face certain kinds of unfavorable treatment in the society. Next significant concepts one must know is that gender division of labor. It is gender division of labor also. It is the socially determined ideas and practices which define what roles the women they have to perform, what roles the men they have to perform in the society. Because of the existing gender division of labor, we could able to see the gender diversity in workplaces. What happens if there is a gender diversity? If the less number of female, if they represent in the workplaces, certainly that workplaces, we cannot bring equity in equality in the various organizations and institutions in the society. Basically, gender diversity is not only increasing number of women in workplaces. Certainly, we need to increase the number of women in workplaces, as well as we must provide, the society must provide opportunities for women in various areas of work and employment. This ensure professional achievement in many areas of work. Based on the gender division of labor and gender diversity in workplaces, we must know that what is labor force participation. These all terms it's related to the theoretical understanding of gender and development studies. The labor force participation is that globally female labor force participation rates remain significantly lower than its male labor force participation. As per 2016 data, only 50% of women in the labor force were working or looking for a work compared to 76% of men. You could able to see that more number of male members they are searching or looking for the better opportunities than the female members in the society. You could able to see that in 2016, the Global Gender Gap Report published by the World Economic Forum, it clearly pointed out that reversal of 7 years of progress, the gap between men and women in terms of economic participation and opportunity has been widening. At the current rate of change, it would take 170 more years for women to achieve economic parity with men. One could able to understand that whatever happening now, whatever the efforts we are taking, if we could able to continuously take these efforts, then also it will take another 170 years to get a parity with male members in the society as far as economic opportunities are concerned. As like whatever data I have explained so far, it's a global data. As far as India is concerned, the situation is particularly very dismissal state. Despite we have a good economic growth, declining fertility rates and rising level of education, India's female labor force rate is earlier. It was 37% in 2005. Even though we have achieved enormously with regard to economic growth, like our GDP is constantly growing, still that female labor force participation has declined. As far as 2016 is concerned, the female labor force participation is only 27%, and in 18 it has further reduced and it's only 26%. Why are these situations? You all must be wondering what is happening with regard to low female labor force participation as far as India is concerned. Most of the time women, they continue to do unpaid work. These unpaid work may not be recognized and it is not valued, and there is a lack of women leadership or gender sensitive leader in the formal sector. Due to the lack of gender sensitive leadership in the formal sector, most of the time or majority of the organization and institutions, they may not or they lack sensitivity to hire more female. That is the another reason for the low female labor force participation rate. And most of the time, even though we have a Equal Pay Act, still the women, they were paid less compared to male members. If it's paid work, mostly they work in informal sector. Most of the women, they work in informal sector. Only 3% of women work in organized sector like manufacturing. Most of the women work in rural areas. And what type of impact it creates, that is low female labor force participation. The low female labor force participation has an implications for macroeconomy. Like if women participate in the labor market to the same extent like a male members in the society, certainly it will significantly impact, positively significantly impact our economic growth, and it will have a positive impact, and so Indian economy will certainly gain productively. According to the one study, complete gender parity could add nearly $2.9 trillion to the country's annual gross domestic product by 2025. So there is a need to increase the female labor force participation that will have a positive impact in the Indian economy. Next significant point we need to understand this, that the economic opportunities or equal economic opportunities certainly bring control over resources. Like a male members, the female, they could also control the resources, and it could alter the existing gender relations, both public and private spaces. Once they female, they gain the certain kinds of economic opportunities. Certainly, they could equally participate like a male members in the decision making, and it will reduce the poverty, specifically female poverty, and improve overall well-being of the women and children. Certainly, that will improve the well-beings of the entire population in the particular country. That's why always whenever we talk about the equity and equality, we need to address those issues to bring equity and equality in the society. Like these concepts, we need to learn various concepts related to gender and development theory. So in another session, we could discuss more concepts, as well as I will explain more about the gender and development framework or gender and development theory. Thank you so much for listening and watching this session.